The doorbell rang on a Tuesday evening just as Sarah had slipped into her cozy silk pajamas, with a hot cup of chamomile tea next to her favorite book. She wasn't expecting anyone her close friends knew not to show up without calling, especially since her divorce made her want quiet time alone, like a soothing hug looking through the peephole she saw Marcus, her best friend Elena's 26-year-old son, standing there nervously shifting his weight and holding a small gift box tied to his chest. His dark hair was messy like he'd been running his hands through it, and even through the tiny hole she could tell his shoulders were tense. Sarah's heart did a funny little jump the way it had been doing around Marcus for months ever since Elena mentioned his tough breakup at 42. Sarah knew she shouldn't notice how Marcus looked at her longer during family get-togethers, or how his voice got softer saying her name. She was Elena's best friend for over 15 years. Some lines you just don't cross. But there he was, almost 9 at night, looking like he carried a heavy load. Marcus, she opened the door, pulling her robe closer. Is everything all right? Is your mom's fine? He said fast, his voice a bit rough. I'm sorry for coming so late. Sarah, I know it's probably not right, but I couldn't wait till tomorrow. His eyes met hers, and she saw real desperation there, something that made her chest feel tight. I have something for you. Something that was my dad's. Mentioning Elena's late husband made Sarah feel a chill. Robert died 3 years ago in a car crash, leaving Elena heartbroken, and Marcus trying hard to fill his dad's shoes. Sarah had been there for it all, holding Elena as she cried, helping with the funeral, bringing food that mostly sat uneaten. Come in, she said softly, stepping back. You're shaking. Marcus walked into her living room, his being there making the familiar place feel smaller and closer. The soft light from the lamp showed the sharp lines of his face as he sat on the edge of her couch, still holding the small box. Sarah sat in the armchair across from him, keeping what she hoped was a good distance. Marcus, what's this about? She asked kindly. You're making me a little worried. He looked at the box in his hands, his jaw moving like words were hard to find. When he spoke, it was almost a whisper. I was looking through Dad's stuff in the attic last weekend. Mom asked me to, she said. She was ready to give away most of his clothes. He swallowed hard. I found a shoebox hidden behind old photo albums. Inside were letters. And this, he held up the wrapped box, and Sarah saw his hands shake a bit. Letters. Sarah's voice sounded odd to her own ears, far away and empty. Marcus nodded, his dark eyes staying on her face. Letters he wrote, but never sent. All to you, Sarah. Dozens of them from years, some from before he married my mom. The room felt like it was spinning. Sarah held the arms of her chair, her knuckles turning white. That's that possible? Robert and I were never. I know, Marcus said quick. I know nothing happened between you two. The letters make that clear, but Sarah. He leaned forward, his voice cracking a little. He was in love with you. Totally, desperately in love with you for over 20 years. The words hit Sarah like hard punches. She remembered Robert, quiet, steady. Robert with his kind smile and strong love for Elena had been like a brother to her. Also, she thought they had easy talks at dinner parties, comfortable, quiet times at family events. Had walked her down the aisle at her wedding, when her dad couldn't. Had been the first she called when her marriage started breaking. You're wrong, she whispered. But even as she said it, memories were changing in her mind, like cards getting a new deal. The way Robert's face would brighten when she walked in, the hugs that lasted just a second too long. The way he always knew what she needed, like a strong coffee at Elena's parties or a shoulder during her hard times. I wish I was. Marcus said, his voice full of feeling. But I've read them, Sarah. Everyone. And they're beautiful and sad, and gosh, they explain so much about why he was like that. Why he sometimes looked so down, even when happy. Sarah's tea had gone cold in her hands. She set it down with shaky fingers, her mind spinning. Why are you telling me this? Why didn't you just burn them? Act like you never found them. Marcus was quiet for a long time, looking at her face with a strong gaze that made her feel open and weak, because he said at last, I think I get now why I've been pulled to you. Why I can't stop thinking about you, even though I know I shouldn't. Why every girl I date feels wrong, not enough. The air in the room got thick, full of a spark that made Sarah's skin tingle. Marcus don't. I think I got more than just his eyes and stubborn ways. Marcus kept going, his voice getting stronger. I think I got his heart, his way of loving someone fully, hopelessly, from far away. Sarah stood up fast, needing room. Needing to breathe, she walked to the window, pressing her hands on the cool glass outside the neighborhood street. Was quiet normal, the same? A big difference from how her world was falling apart and rebuilding with each word Marcus said. This is crazy, she said to her reflection. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever known, Marcus said from behind her, and she heard him stand. Coming closer, you're kind and smart and strong enough to hold others up when they're breaking. You're the woman who showed me what love should be, even if you didn't mean to. Sarah closed her eyes, fighting the pull of his words, fighting how they seemed to open something deep in her chest. She'd been trying to ignore. This can't happen. Marcus, your mom is my best friend. She's had enough hurt. I know, he said quietly, and I'm not asking for anything to happen. I just needed you to know Dad never got to tell you how he felt. He carried it alone for 20 years, and it hurt him bad. I won't do the same. Sarah turned to him, and the oaken truth in his face almost broke her. He stood just a few feet away, the wrapped box still in his hands, looking like a guy who had just shared his whole soul. What's in the box, she asked, though part of her was scared to know. Marcus held it out to her. The last thing Dad ever bought. I found the receipt in his wallet. He got it the day before the accident. It was for your birthday, but he never gave it to you. With shaky hands, Sarah took the box. It was small and long, wrapped in paper, a bit yellow from time. She could feel Marcus watching as she carefully pulled off the tape. Her heart beating hard inside. Was a velvet jewelry box, deep blue and soft at the edges. Sarah's breath stopped as she opened it, showing a pretty silver necklace with a small pendant, a heart-shaped locket with tiny flowers carved on it. Open it, Marcus whispered. Sarah's fingers struggled with the small clasp. Inside were 2 tiny photos. On one side, a picture of her from Elena's birthday party 2 years ago, laughing at something, her hair in the sun. On the other side, a photo of Robert smiling with a joy she didn't see often. The meaning hit her like a wave. Robert had put their pictures together in this close jewelry. It was a way of saying love, both pretty and sad, because it couldn't be. He loved my mum, Sarah said, her voice breaking. I know he loved Elena. They were happy. They were. Marcus agreed, and he never would have left her, never acted on his feelings for you. But that doesn't mean those feelings weren't real, doesn't mean they didn't shape his every day. Sarah sat back in her chair, the locket tight in her hand. The weight of Robert's hidden love felt huge, pressing on her chest like a rock. How had she not seen it? How had she missed something so big? The letters, she said suddenly. What do they say? Marcus paused, then sat across from her. They're like diary pages. I guess he wrote about small moments, the way you laughed at his jokes, how you looked in a blue dress at someone's wedding, the time you fell asleep on their couch during movie night, and he wanted to cover you with a blanket, but didn't dare touch you. Each detail felt like a little burst in Sarah's chest. She remembered that movie night, how tired she was from work, and dozed off during an action movie. She woke up later with a blanket over Helena, saying, Robert wanted to let her sleep. He wrote about how proud he was of your strength during your divorce. Marcus kept going, how he wanted to hold you when you cried, but knew he couldn't. How he stayed up nights, wondering if you were okay, if you had enough money, if you felt alone. Sarah's eyes got teary during those bad months after her split. Robert had been there helping with things like fixing her leaky faucet or moving furniture, always with Elena's happy. Okay. Had never made her feel like a bother. Never made her feel anything but important and cared for. There's one letter, Marcus said, his voice softer, that he wrote after your divorce was done. He said he was glad you were free from a marriage that didn't deserve you, but he hated himself for being glad about your hurt. He said loving you taught him. The heart doesn't always pick smart, but that didn't make the love less real. Stop, Sarah whispered. Pressing her hands to her face, please just stop. The room got quiet, except for the soft tick of the clock on the mantel. Sarah could feel Marcus watching her, could sense the weight of his own words hanging between them. When she looked up, his dark eyes were full of pain and hope that reminded her so much of Robert. Her breath stopped. I see him in you, she said suddenly. When you look at me like that, I see your dad. Marcus nodded slowly. And I see in you what he saw, what he spent 20 years loving from far away. The likeness was too much too. Heavy. Sarah stood again, walking to the fireplace where photos lined the top. Pictures of her and Elena over the years. Robert in many of them, smiling his quiet smile. We can't do this, she said, strong though her voice shook. I won't be why Elena loses more family. I won't be the woman who gets between a mom and her son. You wouldn't be getting between us. Marcus said you'd be finishing something left undone. Sarah turned to him, her eyes strong. Your dad's feelings don't give you okay to chase me, Marcus. They don't make this right now. He agreed, standing to face her, but they help explain why I feel this way, why I've been fighting these feelings for months, thinking I was going crazy. And what way is that? The question came out before Sarah could stop it, and she wished she hadn't said it, stepping into dangerous ground. Marcus took a step closer, his eyes on hers. Like I've been waiting my whole life to know what love really means, and you're the answer to a question I didn't even know I was asking. The words were so like what Robert had written, so close, and their honest need that. Sarah felt herself shaking, the part of her lonely since her divorce, the part that noticed Marcus's gentle strength and good heart answered his words like a flower turning to the sun. But the smart part of her mind, the part that remembered her friendship with Elena and the trust they had fought back hard. You need to go, she said, though her voice wasn't sure. This talk is done. Take the letters, take the necklace, and act like this never happened. I can't do that, Marcus said simply, and I don't think you can either. He was right, and that scared her. The locket seemed to burn in her palm. Robert's secret love mixing with the impossible pull she felt for his son. It was a tangle of feelings and messes that could break everything she cared about. Your mum trusts me, Sarah said, desperate. She loves me like a sister. How could I face her if I have feelings for her son? How could you? Marcus's face looked hurt. Do you think I haven't thought about that every day for the past 6 months? Do you think I wanted to fall for my mom's best friend? But feelings don't follow rules. Sarah, Dad learned that the hard way, and look how that ended. Sarah said back 20 years of hidden pain, dying with his love. Not said, is that what you want? Is that what you're giving me? The question stayed in the air like a dare. Marcus was quiet for a long time, his jaw moving as he fought something inside. No, he said at last. I'm giving you the choice. My dad never gave you the chance to know you're loved and decide what to do about it. The words hit Sarah hard. Taking her breath, she stared at Marcus, seeing so much of Robert in his face, the same strong jaw, the same kind strength in his eyes. But where Robert was quiet fire, Marcus was brighter, more open. I need time, she heard herself say. I need to think. Marcus nodded, relief showing on his face. Of course. I just needed you to know. I needed to give you what Dad couldn't. He went to the door, then stopped with his hand on the knob. The letters are in my truck. If you want them, they're yours. If not, I'll respect that too. After he left, Sarah stood in her living room for what felt like hours, the locket still in her hand. The house felt too quiet, too empty, full of ghosts and chances she wasn't ready to name. She ended up at the window again, watching the street where Marcus's truck had gone in the distance. She could see the warm light from Elena's porch and wondered what her friend was doing, probably reading in her favorite chair, maybe thinking about Robert. Like she did every night before bed, thinking of Elena brought new guilt over Sarah. How could she even think about Marcus's words when it would hurt the woman who'd been like a sister for 15 years? But as she looked at the locket, at the tiny photos Robert had carefully put side by side, she couldn't deny the truth coming out from her heart's Shadows she had cared for Robert, maybe more than she let herself know. And Marcus was giving her something she didn't know. The next morning brought no clear thoughts, just a restless feeling that had Sarah walking around her house, like a trapped animal shed. Hardly slept, her mind going over and over, between guilt, want, and fear every time. She tried to tell herself Marcus's words were just a young guy's crush. She remembered how he looked at her, with the same deep look she'd sometimes seen in Robert's eyes, but never understood around 10. Her phone rang. Elena's name on the screen, and Sarah's heart jumped with guilt. "Good morning, sunshine." Elena's happy voice filled the kitchen. "I was hoping you'd want lunch today. Marcus seemed a bit off when he got home last night, and I could use some friend time to talk about what's up with him." Sarah's hand gripped the phone tight. "What do you mean?" "Off, I don't know, just not focused, sad. Maybe you know how he gets when thinking about his dad. I wonder if going through Robert's things is bringing up more sadness than he thought." The easy talk of Robert's stuff made Sarah's stomach twist. She wondered if Elena knew about the box Marcus found about the letters, showing a love hidden for 20 years. "Sarah, you there?" "Yes, sorry, just coffee hasn't worked yet." Sarah made her voice light. "Lunch sounds good, the usual place, perfect, 1 o'clock after hanging up." Sarah stared at the locket which she'd put on her kitchen counter like proof from a mystery. How was she supposed to sit with Elena and act normal? How was she supposed to hear her friend worry about Marcus without telling her own part in his worry? The next few hours went by in a mix of nervous energy and doubting herself. Sarah changed clothes 3 times, put on makeup and took it off, and practiced talks in her head that all felt not enough for the big mess she was in at the restaurant. Elena was waiting, her reddish hair shining as she waved excited. She looked so truly glad to see Sarah that the guilt felt like a real heavy thing on her chest. "You look beautiful," Elena said as they hugged. "That blue makes your eyes stand out. Robert always said you look stunning in blue." The easy mention of Robert's thought hit Sarah hard. She wondered how many other things had shared with Elena over the years, how many secret ideas had hidden as simple comments. "How are you doing with sorting his things?" Sarah asked as they sat in their booth. "It must be hard." Elena's face got soft. "And sad it is, but it's also healing in a way. Finding little bits of who he was, how much he loved our family. Marcus found some old letters Robert wrote to me when we were engaged. I'd forgotten how sweet he could be with words." Sarah's heart squeezed. She wondered if Marcus had shown his mom all the letters he found or kept the ones to Sarah hidden. "That's wonderful." Sarah said he was a good man, the best. Elena agreed. "You know, sometimes I wonder if he would want me to find love again someday. He always said he just wanted me happy." She stopped, looking at Sarah's face. "What about you? Any guys in sight?" The question felt full of funny timing. Sarah took a drink of water to think. "I'm not really looking now. Still figuring out me after the divorce." "I get that. But Sarah, you're too great to be alone forever somewhere. There's a guy who will love you right." The words were so like what Marcus said last night that Sarah almost choked on her water. She wondered if Elena had any clue how true her words were, or how tangled the real story was actually. Elena kept going. "I've been thinking about this for a while. What would you think about Marcus?" Sarah's fork dropped loud on her plate. "What?" Elena's eyes got bright with excitement. I know there's an age difference, but not too big, and you two always get along so well. He respects you, likes your strength, and after what you went through with your ex, wouldn't it be great to be with someone who already knows how amazing you are the world?" Sarah thought had a weird sense of fun. "Elena," she started, but her friend was getting more into it. "I know it might seem strange since I'm his mom and your best friend, but really I can't think of anyone I'd rather have as a daughter-in-law. You're already family, Sarah. This would just make it real." Sarah felt like she was sinking in the weird talk, Elena's real excitement about something already happening in secret made the guilt almost too much. "Has Marcus ever said anything about do you think he'd be interested in someone like me?" Sarah asked, hating herself for asking, but needing to know how much Elena knew. "Are you kidding?" Elena laughed. "Sarah, That boy lights up like holiday lights when you're around. I've been waiting for him to get brave and ask you out for months. The news hit Sarah hard. Elena had not only seen Marcus's feelings, she had been cheering them on the guilt. Sarah carried suddenly. Changed to a mix of relief and fear. You've really been thinking about this? Sarah asked, careful for ages. Elena said ever since his breakup with that bad girl last year. I kept thinking, why waste time with women who wanted the chance to be loved? Fully openly without holding back. Don't value him when there's someone perfect right here. Sarah's mind spun Elena's. Okay, it wasn't just an idea. It was excited, but Elena didn't know about Robert's letters, didn't get the tangled feelings around it. What if it didn't work out? Sarah asked. What if we tried and it ruined our friendship or your bond with Marcus? Elena reached over the table and squeezed Sarah's hand. Honey, life is too short for what ifs. Robert's death taught me that love is special and hard to find. And when you have it, you grab it with both hands. The funny part was almost too big. Elena was, without knowing, saying the same lesson her late husband didn't learn, pushing Sarah to go for what Robert spent 20 years not doing. I think Sarah said slow, I need to talk with Marcus. Elena's face lit up with a big smile. Really? Oh, Sarah, this is great. Should I say something to him? Give hints? No. Sarah said fast, let me talk to him first. These things are touchy. You know, of course. That Sarah. Elena's face got serious. Don't let fear stop you. I've seen you be strong for everyone else. So long, it's time for someone to be strong for you. That evening, Sarah sat in her living room with Robert's locket in her hands, thinking over the day's news. Elena's surprise, had taken away one wall but made things even bigger. What felt like a hidden, impossible thing was now a path Elena herself was pushing. She thought about Robert, about the 20 years he loved her quietly. She thought about Marcus, who got not just his dad's eyes but his way of deep, loyal love. And she thought about herself, 42, divorced, scared of risks but tired of half living. When the doorbell rang at 8, she wasn't shocked to see Marcus on her porch this time. He didn't look nervous. His face was calm, sure, like a guy who accepted whatever came from being honest. Did you think about it? He asked right away. Sarah let him in, her heart beating fast. I had lunch with your mom today. Marcus got tense. Did you tell her no? Sarah said, then added quiet, but she told me something fun. She thinks we should date. The surprise on Marcus's face would have been funny in other times. Apparently she's been hoping you'd ask me out for months. She thinks we'd be great together. Sarah couldn't keep the funny tone out. Your mom, it seems, loves romance. Marcus sat on the couch, running hands through his hair. This is crazy. Which part? Your mom's matching, or the fact she has no idea her late husband loved me for 20 years? They looked at each other across the room, the heaviness of it all, like something alive between them. Sarah could see Marcus dealing with the same questions that kept her up last night. I brought the letters, he said at last, pointing to a cardboard box by the door. Sarah hadn't seen. I'm not sure I'm ready to read them. You don't have to. But they're yours now. Dad would have wanted you to have them. The kindness in his voice opened something in Sarah's chest. She found herself going to him, pulled by the same strong draw she'd fought for months. Marcus, she said, sitting next to him on the couch, I need you to understand something. If we do this, if we see where these feelings go, we can't go back. Your mom's doesn't erase how tangled this is. I know, he said, his dark eyes serious. I thought about nothing else for months. The risks, the messes, the way it might change everything. And Marcus reached out slow, giving her time to move away, and took her hand in his. His fingers were warm, a bit rough from his carpenter work, and they fit around hers just right. And I think my dad spent 20 years sorry for the chances he didn't take. Marcus said, I don't want to spend the next 20 years wondering what could have been if I'd been brave enough to find out. Sarah looked at their hands together, at how his thumb slowly made circles on her palm. The touch was simple, but it sent sparks up her arm, reminding her how long since someone touched her with such careful care. Your dad was a good man who chose to honor his promises, she said. But that choice had a price I don't have to pay, Marcus said, because the woman I love is free to love me back. The words stayed in the air, simple and deep. Sarah felt something change in her chest, a wall she'd built for months finally falling under the truth. She whispered, love you back, I mean. I've been fighting it, telling myself it was wrong or impossible, or just being lonely talking. But Marcus, when you look at me, I feel like the woman I'm supposed to be. Marcus's breath stopped, and Sarah saw the careful hold head kept. Finally slipped. The hope in his eyes was so bright, it almost hurt to see. Are you sure? He asked. Because once I know you feel the same, I won't be able to act like I don't anymore. I won't be able to go back to being just your friend's son who helps move stuff and fixes broken things. Sarah thought about Elena's words at lunch about life too short for what if. She thought about Robert keeping his love quiet till too late, and she thought about herself, 42 and done with careful living, choosing safe over chance. I don't want you to go back to that, she said. I want you to be the man who loves me openly without holding back. I want to be the woman brave enough to love you the same way. Marcus's face changed, joy and relief and wonder, showing he lifted their hands to his lips, kissing her knuckles softly, sending warmth through her whole body. Well, tell Mom. Together, he said, she needs to know the truth about Dad's letters, about how we feel. She needs the choice to be happy for us or take time to think. Sarah nodded, though thinking of that talk still scared her. She's going to have questions. She's going to want to know how long we felt this way, if we ever did anything while Robert was alive, and well, answer honest. Marcus said, because we have nothing to hide. Whatever Dad felt for you, whatever you might have felt for him, it never became more than feelings, not said. What's between us started after he was gone, and it's ours to make. The sureness in his voice was like something steady to hold in the storm of feelings and messes around them. Sarah found herself leaning toward him, pulled by the warmth and strength he gave so easy. I'm scared, she admitted. I'm scared of hurting Elena, of people judging us, of this not working and losing all that matters to me. Marcus's let go of her hand to hold her face, his palms warm on her cheeks. I'm scared too, he said, but I'm more scared of spending my life wondering what we could have been together. He leaned in, slow, giving her every chance to pull back, to change her mind, to hide behind rules and fear instead. Sarah met him halfway, her eyes closing as their lips touched for the first time. The kiss was gentle, full of respect, full of promise and chance. It tasted like coming home and stepping into new things at once. When they pulled apart, Sarah felt like she saw the world fresh, full of color and light she hadn't noticed before. Well, figure it out, Marcus whispered against her forehead. Whatever comes next, well, face it together. Sarah nodded, feeling a deep calm in her chest she hadn't felt in years. The peace of being really known and loved. Robert's secret had opened more than just the truth about his feelings. It had opened the chance for a love that was open, honest, and not afraid. In the box by the door, 20 years of hidden love waited to tell its story. But in the living room, in the soft space between sharing and promise, a new love story was starting. One that would respect the past while holding the future, one that would turn a dark secret into the base for something beautiful and true. As Marcus pulled her closer, Sarah thought about the locket upstairs with its tiny photos of two people who loved across hard spaces. Soon she hoped she'd have her own photos to treasure, not hidden in secret jewelry, but shown proud for all to see. The love Robert kept in shadows could finally step into the light, change anew in the hearts of those he loved most. Outside, the neighborhood streets stayed quiet and the same. But inside Sarah's house, everything was different. The gift Marcus brought her wasn't just a locket or box of letters. It was the key to opening a future neither had dared to dream. And as they sat together in the lamplight planning how to tell Elena their news, both knew some gifts are worth waiting a lifetime to get.